Motorcycling definitely has a soundtrack, and that soundtrack can take you back to places you've half or fully forgotten. The right song can bring back a camping trip you did on that old CB you found in a barn, or that rally where you and your friends raised some hell. It can put fuzzy memories into sharp focus, not only reminding you of the events you've experienced, but also of the emotions that those events brought back. And so, whether you're a young buck or an old timer, the right song can make you wax nostalgic about something that happened a couple of years or a couple of decades ago. And that's where a motorcycle soundtrack comes in, because experiences on a motorcycle are more memorable. The wind, the temperature, the smell, the fact that you're braving the elements, and the right song can not only make you remember, it can create memories you'll come back to time and again. I've been on dozens of camping trips and road trips, but the ones I remember most were the ones I've done on a motorcycle. So when a good bike song comes on, it's hard not to get caught up. I guess people who don't ride won't understand, it's just one of those things. So it's time to run down a list of the greatest motorcycle songs of all time. If you're a long-time rider, maybe they'll take you back. If you're new to motorcycling, maybe they'll inspire you. And hopefully there will be a couple that you haven't heard, and you'll find a new one you like. So settle in and let's go on a musical journey of the top 10 motorcycle songs. And if you're so inclined, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me and Brooke elsewhere as well. Let's rock and roll. A few caveats. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, but the fact is that I can't play the songs I'll discuss because YouTube will slap me down for copyright infringement. So all I can do is talk about them and leave you to search for them on your own. The second caveat is that I'm leaving out Born to Be Wild. I know, gasp. It's just too obvious, and there are so many songs I want to talk about that I don't want to bore the audience with information they already expect. I acknowledge that Born to Be Wild is one of the quintessential motorcycle songs and is deserving of a top 10 spot. So why don't we just make the list the top 11 and name 10 more songs that exemplify our two-wheeled lifestyle. So I came up with my top 7 and Brooke came up with her top 3 to give the video a female perspective. And I put them in an order that will certainly not please everyone, but oh well. I also tried to represent various genres of music. If I left out a song that you think should be on there, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll learn something new. So without further ado, the number 10 motorcycle song on our list of classics is Freewheel Burning by Judas Priest. If you need a kick in the backside, Judas Priest, one of the best metal bands of all time, is more than willing to oblige you with this high-paced, riff-driven bomb of a song. Rob Halford's vocals cruise ranges that other singers can only dream of, and he tells the truth when he sings, "We're spittin' flames." They are. If you like tight, in-your-face, and loud, you'll want this one on your playlist. Another song you might like for all the same reasons is Motorcycle Man by Saxon. This UK metal band rips through this song like a VMAX running a quarter mile. I had room for one of these songs and Judas Priest won out, but when you're in the mood for moving your head back and forth repeatedly, you can't go wrong with either. Song number 9 is far more mellow than its predecessor and is the third of Brooke's choices. Here we have some Canadian content with Neil Young's Unknown Legend. If the last song was a VMAX, this one is a slow revving heritage softail rolling across the prairies. If it had been written earlier, it could have been on the Easy Rider soundtrack. In it, Neil tells us the story of a woman who worked in a diner and rode her Harley Davidson, her long blonde hair blowing in the wind. Now she's raising 2 kids, but every now and then still gets that faraway look in her eyes. This one is chill, wistful, and has that nostalgic twang that makes you think of careless nights, campfires, and summer baseball. No wonder Brooke likes it. An alternative choice could have been Neil Young's Motorcycle Mama, but Unknown Legend it is. Song number 8 brings us back to Loud and Brash, and a band that put the first couple of hairs on the chests of many a pimple-faced boy of the 80s. In 1983, before Twisted Sister became a huge success with songs like We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock, they appropriated a Harley slogan, Ride to Live, Live to Ride, and made a song out of it. Yes, the slogan is cliche and backwards, and the song has all the subtlety of a baseball bat to the head. But then again, so does Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider, and his chopper. If you drink your tea with your pinky out, you won't like this one. But if you remember what it was like to be 14, frustrated, and desperate to piss off every adult around, saddle up and let Dee take you for a ride on one of the least sensible motorcycles in existence. And if you like this one, you'll also love Bad Motor Scooter by Montrose, the song that Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart wishes it could be when it grows up. The 7th entry is Panheads Forever and takes us back to Nashville as David Allan Coe lulls us with this country ballad about his old panhead. She's hard to get started, she's always so cold. In the morning I find her, she's looking so old. This is a song you listen to with your feet up and a beer in your hand at the end of a long day. Then you walk out, look at your bike and say, God knows I'll always love that old panhead of mine. Song number 6 is the second song courtesy of Brooke. Bob Seger liked him some motorcycles, especially his Goldwing, so no wonder he wrote a song about the freedom bikes represent. Took a look down a westbound road, right away I made my choice. Headed out to my big two-wheeler, I was tired of my own voice. Took a beat on the northern plains and just rolled that power on. Who among us hasn't had the urge to just get on our bike and head for the horizon? Is it cliche? Sure. But it's also true, and if you ever get a chance to have a spontaneous adventure, don't hesitate to do it. In today's busy world, those don't come around often. Staring out at the Great Divide. I could go east, I could go west, it was all up to me to decide. Enough said. Add this rock anthem to your collection. Song number 5 comes to us from the greatest rock guitarist of all time. In the song Easy Rider, Jimi Hendrix displays his full genius as he grooves his way through this high-paced funk blues rock piece. He sounds like no one else, and his riffs have clearly inspired countless other musicians. At one point you can hear Lenny Kravitz's Are You Gonna Go My Way? Jimi would have liked Panheads forever as he rode a '64 Panhead chopper with a Springer front end. If you had to describe what cool was to someone who had never heard the expression, this photo would do the job. Song number 4 is Brooke's #1 choice, and this one comes to us from the Queen of Atmosphere, Lana Del Rey. Ride is a perfect example of a good song made better by a video. The song is under 5 minutes long, but the 10-minute video opens with Lana swinging on a tire tied to who knows what. A monologue begins describing an old woman looking back at the men in her life, a couple of whom were bikers. Then the song begins with a hypnotic melody that builds to a crescendo where Lana tells us that she's tired of feeling like she's fucking crazy. So she just rides. The video is cinematic and brilliantly shot as a group of bikers rides out into the desert to get wild. It culminates in a scene that could have come out of Hunter Thompson's Hell's Angels. The group has a crazy party, and Lana sits astride a Harley in full native headdress and does a bad job of practicing proper firearm safety protocol. The song ends, but another monologue takes us to the end of the video. This one will trigger sensitive folks on both sides of the political spectrum, but not Brooke, who has this song playing in her head when she's long hauling on her bike. It's worth a watch, as is evidenced by the 125 million views it has on YouTube. Song number 3 comes to us from the English folk scene as Richard Thompson tells us the story of troubled James, who meets a tragic end and gives his girl Molly his 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. Because in his opinion, there's nothing in this world beats a 52 Vincent and a red-headed girl. Nortons and Indians and Grievuses won't do, oh, they don't have a soul like a Vincent 52. If you're wondering about the bike, the Vincent Black Lightning was the Ducati Panigale V4 of its day. A 70 horsepower rocket that weighed 380 pounds and was taken to the Bonneville Salt Flats by Rolly Free, what a name I know, to break the US national speed record. After a run of 148 miles per hour, Rolly stripped down to his swimming shorts and laid flat on the bike to get more aerodynamic and break 150 miles per hour, or 240 kilometers per hour. I'm not messing with you, this actually happened. 1952 Vincent Black Lightning is a wistful folk song that makes you picture yourself in a grassy meadow having a picnic with red-haired Molly while your Vincent is parked nearby. Definitely worth a listen. And so we come to song number 2. You know, when testosterone needs to get more manly, it takes Lemmy, lead singer of Motorhead. Iron Horse Born to Lose is a hard song, as hard as the other metal songs already discussed, but there's something more to it. It's hard in a bluesy, laid-back sort of way. The guitars groove and Lemmy's raspy voice sounds ferociously stoned. The guitar solo is a blues rock masterpiece with shades of Jimi Hendrix, and the whole thing sounds like something that should be playing in a dive bar where you're as likely to get your bad self beat up for looking the wrong way as you are to get a drink. Lemmy rode Triumphs and Harleys and promoted Victory. Iron Horse was his wife, Iron Horse was his life. Before we get to number 1, a couple of honorable mentions. Little Honda by the Beach Boys is a brilliant and tight ditty by one of the most talented rock bands in history. It talks about the small Honda bikes that arrived on US shores in the 60s and made motorcycling an activity that your parents might actually approve of. Ghost Rider by Rush deals with darker subject matter. After losing his wife and daughter in the span of a year, Rush drummer Neil Peart loaded up his big GS and headed out on a road trip as a way of dealing with his grief. He chronicled his travels in a book, Ghost Rider: Travels on the Healing Road. He also wrote a haunting song about the experience, which should definitely be included on any list of great motorcycle songs. And finally, we come to the number 1 biker song on our list, and here we have a song with a lot of history behind it. The Allman Brothers Band was formed by Duane Allman, who by any measure is one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Aside from his work with his own band, Duane also contributed to numerous other projects, perhaps most famously to Layla and other assorted love songs, where he played alongside Eric Clapton. The Allman Brothers Band was remarkable for their ability to mix musical genres into a tight, coherent whole, combining country, blues, rock, and jazz into an extremely unique and dynamic sound. It's hard not to default to musical cliches when describing a band, but each song had a strong mood and personality. One of their best tracks is Midnight Rider, a slow burn of a song that describes a desperate man on the run from the law. This song is straight out of a spaghetti western. I don't own the clothes I'm wearing and the road goes on forever. I've got one more silver dollar, but I'm not gonna let him catch me. No, not gonna let him catch the Midnight Rider. What's it sound like? Like Clint Eastwood doing 55 on a knucklehead chopper through Monument Valley. It's got that kind of weight to it, not least of all because of what happened soon after it was released. You see, like a lot of great rock stars, Duane Allman was a bit of a wild man who liked to ride his Sportster fast. In October of '71, Duane rode his motorcycle to visit the band's bassist Barry Oakley and wish his wife a happy birthday. After leaving, he was riding fast when a flatbed truck pulled into an intersection. Unbelievably, just a year later, Barry Oakley too was killed just a few blocks away while riding his Triumph. Midnight Rider is a haunting song, and even though it was probably written about a man riding his horse, will forever be tied to motorcycles. No other song establishes the relationship between the cowboys of yesteryear and the motorcyclists of today better than this southern rock classic. The word freedom is overused these days, and if you've never experienced life under an authoritarian regime, maybe you roll your eyes when you hear it. But the ability to strap a pack to the back of your motorcycle and head across a continent spontaneously, deciding where to turn at every junction, is a freedom not everyone possesses, and it should not be taken for granted. And any song that embodies that spirit should be celebrated. I know that I missed a lot of great songs, but I had to keep the video a reasonable length. What songs would you add to the list, and which are your favorites? Also, I hope I mentioned at least a few that you hadn't heard. If you found a new one you liked, please comment below and let me know, and enjoy riding your iron horses. If you're interested in any of the gear that Brooke and I wear or use, or the camera equipment we use to film this channel, the links are below. Everything listed there was bought with our own money, and we are not sponsored by any company. However, the links below are affiliate links, and the channel is paid a small amount for referring you to shop at no additional cost to you. We do not recommend any products that we are not satisfied with ourselves, but we do strongly urge you to do your research and select the correct size for items like helmets and clothing. As always, thanks for watching, your support is greatly appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And whatever you ride, enjoy it. Wave at other bikers no matter what they're riding, we're all part of a brotherhood and sisterhood. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and may the spokes be with you.